Okay, so nice to meet everyone from Chiaka to Nanim to Ismail, Elijah, and Victor. I don't know which, or you got Victor. So nice to meet everyone. Sorry about my background. I'm actually on a trip. I've been traveling for a while, and currently I landed in my parents' house. So um, this is where I had to actually get to do this activity at the moment. And we're basically going to be talking about a couple of strategies that would actually give you the opportunity to increase your chances of getting a job actually. So my name is Schneider. I'm actually a software engineer. I've been a software engineer since 2009. I moved from being a junior developer, from an intern, then moved from junior development role into being a senior developer at a utility company. Then later I started a startup. Then I sold the startup. Then I joined a new company called To Note. So I'm currently the head of engineering at To Note. And when it comes to the aspect of hiring, I've been able to like hire about at least not less than 110 people to be precise. And I've done thousands of interviews to be precise. So we all know that at the moment it's really a difficult market out there when we are actually trying to say we are looking for a job. These days it's not really that easy because there's a lot of threats that have been coming up these days as regarding AI, as regarding the market being saturated. Boot camps are actually bringing new people into the space. That's kind of making the system a little bit saturated. But I think it's kind of important for me to address some certain things which I have noticed in the space based on my experience interviewing and also based on the fact that I've actually been here long enough to get to advise and get to show you some little bit of strategies you can use to increase your chances. That this is especially for those who have actually learnt the skill to the basic level and they are looking for like maybe an internship or a junior role or a mid-role developer or something like that. If you're actually trying to put yourself in that level to look for a role, kind of. So I don't know. I want this to also be an interactive section to an extent where we can be able to get to discuss and look at some little bit of challenges that some of us have actually gone through in the space, trying to look for a role. So if you're just starting the tech space, or you are just if you're just starting in the tech space, and or you are actually mid role or a senior role, you can actually tell us the challenges you've gone through so far. And can anybody kind of volunteer, or do I call names? Okay, so Ayodeji, please, can you unmute, please?
Hi, hello.
Yeah, sure.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. I don't know if you actually started with us at the beginning.
No, I just joined the
Okay,
space
so I
to see
wanted
what's going
to,
on.
yeah, so we're kind of going to be having an interactive section before I start. So I wanted to have an idea of your thoughts on the challenges that have been going on so far when it comes to the idea of trying to get a role in the space.
I didn't hear that.
So I said I wanted to get your ideas
I
on.
think you muted.
Can you? Oh,
You might have mistakenly muted.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I said I wanted to get your idea on what you think about the space and how the job market is as regarding hiring at the moment, based on your own understanding.
I would say we all know that kind of, especially for the tech field is hectic right now. A lot of companies they don't want junior engineers. I think they just want mid level or senior. I think the whole plan to train junior engineers to bring them up, I think is probably expensive for most companies. So
Right.
they just want you to know what you want to do and then just come into the system and pick it up. You get that kind of thing. So getting into the tech space is extremely difficult than it used to be. So yeah. So I think if you want to start a new role, in tech, you have to be prepared to do more than ordinary. That's more than what we used to do then.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just it.
So how long have you been in this space?
In this space,
Yeah, yeah, in the
okay,
tech
tech
space.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the tech space, I would say this is like my third year now.
Okay, third year. Yeah, that's awesome. Makes sense. Yeah. So, will you classify yourself to be a junior or mid or?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm working as a senior engineer for MGM International Results. So
Oh, that sounds good actually. That's under the space of 3 years.
yeah, on that space of
Okay,
3 years,
which is
right?
basically what I'm going to actually be talking about. You get. So I really appreciate you actually getting to air out your thoughts on this. Yeah. So let's get to someone else. I think Emmanuel Akogwu. Please, can you?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, good afternoon. Yeah. So,
Good afternoon.
yeah, so I wanted to get your thoughts about like the challenges within the hiring space and how difficult it has been. I don't know if you have a job or you are actually looking for one or something. Just based on your overview, what you understand by what's going on in this space today.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, once again.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Just like the other guy, the guy that just spoke, I think it's Ayodeji,
Yes,
said, yeah, I think getting in the initial, I think like the first job is always the hardest part. And
yes,
I'm also out 3 years as a professional developer in the space.
nice.
So things are really changing
Yeah,
because I see things like, people saying, okay, they want a junior developer or something. Many things that probably will take you like 10 years to master over the course of 10 years to master, but
you're
they
right.
require everything for you to even get that first job.
Okay,
And then so things like that. So I believe that the bar has been raised a lot
yeah,
and it just takes a lot for you to get. But then once you are in, I think it becomes smoother from there
smoother. Yeah,
anyways.
yeah, you're
So you
right
have that
actually.
experience to back up your journey and
Okay,
just keep going like that.
that
So
makes
that's it for me anyway.
that makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah. So, I'll be speaking for me. I would actually be speaking on some certain activities so far, which is kind of unconventional to an extent, and I'm just going to be sharing my experiences based on how I've been able to go through within the last 14 years of my career, and maybe that can be of help to you. So this is not a rule. It is just based on my perception and how I've seen it on how I've actually created a startup and have actually built and joined and built a startup, and also alongside the idea of how I've been able to relate with people, to be precise. So thank you, Emmanuel. I really appreciate you actually giving your comments. So first of all, I want to say something as regarding what Ayodeji said. He said he's actually like at the moment he's currently having a senior role, and one thing I actually want to point out as regarding which is actually the first thing I actually wanted to hit is normally our coding life is actually judged by what you see and what you have experienced. If you are in an organization, to be precise, and you're working there, you have a whole lot of experience compared to someone who does not even have a job. In short, you are operating on the latest certainty that is happening within that company. And luckily for you, if you're able to leverage on that, you can use that to be pushed by another company and they get you and they say, okay, I need you to come and work with me. So about I think I can say about 70% of the job activities that I've applied for, I have never gotten, or let me say 80% of the jobs that I've actually applied for, I've never gotten any should I say any role kind of from those maybe I've actually gotten into interviews or engagements with them, but basically, so based on my experience, getting to apply sometimes might be a little bit difficult because you apply, you use the easy replies, you use what's this or that, you use Indeed, you use Angel List, you use, I think back then when Stack Overflow was focused on, I think when Stack Overflow back then was actually focused more on putting job ads and all those stuffs, we could actually apply as much as. And luckily for us, if we had the opportunity, we would get to the point of the interview till when you are now dropped. And most of the times, we get a lot of rejections. So there was a strategy that I actually used when it came to the idea of me wanting to get into this space. And one of them is it's as simple as well, how I'll say it, but it's also very very relevant because it always it's required that you be in the mind of individuals. So one of the major things I actually did was I related with people who were actually ahead of me in the space, and I will ask I think um Chinaka, can you unmute please?
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So I want to ask a question. You have a job, right, at the moment?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do.
Yeah. So you work as a mid or senior or junior?
Well, let me say senior. Although it's part of the consultant, sort of,
Sorry, it's
right?
what?
I said it's more like a consultant, right?
Oh,
For
okay, okay, okay,
for
which makes
clients.
sense. Yeah, you're even having a higher experience compared to like we that are having full time because you're at least a little bit flexible. Am I right?
Yeah, it's a little bit flexible
Okay,
because most times it could be, yes, it's flexible in a way, but
okay,
not so flexible because of the way it works, right? So
okay,
I actually work with a consulting firm, right? And
okay,
then in this consulting firm, we work for different clients
okay,
depending on which one you're working with. You know.
okay. So
And
and
those, but within those clients, it could be within different teams, right?
okay,
So yeah.
okay. So I also there was a company called SIT Consulting. I still work with them like once in a while, kind of. So I'm usually called sometimes to do some when it comes to RFPs as RFP assessments for, let's say they want to place a bid for a non-governmental organization. They call me to come and do evaluation for those companies that applied and all those stuff like that. So that's basically how I've actually been working as regarding. But can you give me a story? Can you give me a little brief of how you got this job, consulting?
Well, okay. Well, first of all, it was a friend, right?
Okay.
There's a long, just
Don't
like you
worry.
mentioned,
I appreciate the fact that
just
you
like
actually said this is a friend. So,
just like you
yeah.
mentioned, right?
Mhm.
It's good to connect with other people.
Yeah.
One is really, really important. Because
Yeah.
for me, I think, I think if I had not traveled for some conferences in the past, I don't think I would have been with these people. That's the truth. Looking back, one scenario that strike me personally was during school. I don't want to mention the name of the university, right?
Right.
Right? I went for a conference, and then we were actually expecting the school to sponsor it, but then the school did not sponsor it. I just sponsored myself. I went for the conference, then partook in some hackathon, some like competition stuff,
Right.
and then this was at the national level, right? And
Yeah.
then I don't like singing my praises, okay? But then
Yeah.
the truth that when after the hackathon, right, and like came up as third, right?
Okay.
I would have come out as first, but something happened. My system, my system power, stuff, other things happened,
Right.
and then eventually I fell from first to third because
Right.
eventually that one started more pushing myself.
Okay.
Anyway, my point is that in the process of that, I was able to build a relationship with those guys, and then that actually I committed with, right? And
Okay.
then with time, it was one of them. Why I built a relationship, went back to school, all those years. I kept the relationship going and the rest.
Right.
Right? Time, yeah. I now told him I was at the time in the previous job
Yeah.
that I had to go the office.
Yeah.
I was not really okay with the whole job experience,
Yeah.
right? So I went to move on. So I told him, yeah, and then he referred me to a particular firm that I was working on. So that's how I joined. Okay, so with that, yeah, I've worked with them for this particular guys for over 2 years now, right?
Mm.
Although they're not as smooth as it has been in the past because of all this job, whatever,
You're
right?
working.
But
Yeah.
then
Sure.
the truth is that looking back, it's been me going out of my way and then connecting with others. So at the same
Okay.
time, it's nice meeting you. Not
Yeah.
before, so
Nice meeting you too. I really appreciate. So we can basically see how like it almost relates to what I'm trying to say, like trying to be in the minds of people, kind of. You can actually take this your whole career journey as regarding relationship as either a basket or a bucket. But the crazy part about it is when you see it as a bucket, you might feel like okay, you have everywhere and like there's always a place to fetch water. But most of the times it's not that way. You have to actually figure out how you can be able to patch that basket into a bucket, kind of. Is it that you're going to be looking for is it that you're going to be looking for let's say a tree, like there's a way you beat a tree where it now becomes kind of elastic. You can now start using it to bind every portions of the basket. Although if you pour water into it, it still keeps on dripping and dripping. But that's how relationship works. You need to figure out how you can be able to build relationships with people. And most of the times, it's important to build relationship with people who are ahead of you. So I'll give you a very, very big story. And I think that was one of the reasons why I decided to set up meetings like this. So there's this man who works at the Nigerian Police Force. He's 45 at the moment. So I had related to him back in 2016, and he just saw me at there was a round table of a bid contract that they wanted to do, although it was awarded to me, but the it later did not fly because the money that they said they were going to be giving to us didn't make any sense. Like imagine you're getting a government project and they're giving you 100,000. It didn't just make any sense to me. So that's to show you where the money has actually been dissipated till it gets to you, which did not make any sense. So I built a relationship with Don Teams for a very long time. We're relating, and I never got a job from him. And he was a coder. He was someone who actually wanted to. He's a full stack developer. He wants to build everything himself. Sometimes I'll say, boss, give me job to do now. And all those stuff. Say, don't worry. How much will you charge Schneider? And I'll tell him the price. Say, don't worry, Schneider, I can do it myself because he felt like he could. He didn't want to leave that space of coding because of the money he could get out of it. But something happened between last year and this year, which I felt like, okay, maybe I don't need Don Teams any longer. But Don Teams reached out to me and said, Schneider, I want to stop coding. And most of this project I get, I'm looking for someone to entrust to get these projects done. I'm looking for someone to trust to get this project done. Now, within the space of 5 months, which is one of the reasons I'm actually traveling at the moment, I've actually been able to do about 5 projects for Don Teams at the moment. Who this same man who actually works. So imagine the years of experience. I'm not saying you would actually end up being like that, but it's to show you how much you can be able to leverage on people who are kind of ahead of you, and how you can be able to how you can be able to be in their minds like frequently, not almost every time because you are not their family, but you can be able to figure out how you can be able to sow a seed to them, or do something that will make them remember you frequently, and also, oh, when there's a job, they have you in mind. Because most of these senior developers, right, they are beginning to specialize. Because someone like me, I was a full stack developer. I ended up moving into back end development in 2018 before I now had to spread through DevOps and solutions architecture. At the moment, right now, I do not do my front ends. I have like about 5 junior developers who actually work on my front ends at the moment. So imagine, and those people were on the basis of the fact that they had related with me a year or two ago, and a couple of them are still on the basis of the fact that I had to even train them to get these activities done. And we've been working on awesome projects. So I think it's kind of important, for in as much as you are trying to look for roles, I think it's important to figure out how you can be able to leverage on relationships. You leverage on the idea of the fact that this thing is actually coming from individuals and people. You get, like Chiaka said, he actually did this in a hackathon. He related with a lot of people as much as he could, and he had to be in the minds of these people as much as by showing, and not just being in their minds by just saying, hey, I just say, let me say hi to you. Hey, this is a project I'm working on. What do you think about it? I did this today. I did that tomorrow, and all the stuff. Because when there come a point in time where you need to be recommended, you're one of the first options you have in mind. At the moment, right now, if someone tells me I'm looking for a React.js developer, I know who to call at this moment. And I'm happy because of the fact that I'll be privileged to say that I'll be able to give about almost 50 people jobs, kind of, and they are doing well at it at the moment. So I've also had lapses of people who have been in a position where I recommended them and it killed my reputation at the same time. So most of the times I'll be like, I need to figure out how much I can be able to engage with you and know what you're doing before I can be able to now finally recommend you to a certain extent. I don't know if you guys get where I'm coming from. So look for people who are kind of ahead of you, first of all. Look for their vulnerabilities. Like, for example, hey, sir, I'm a front end developer. What's your stack at the moment? Do you do full stack? Do you do back end? So if he tells you he does back end, you say, oh, I'm a front end developer. I can actually do this, that, and all the stuff for you, and all the stuff like that. And from there, this is what they call remnant roles. Because in a project, there's a full stack, there's a front end, there's a back end. The whole of it is the full stack. So these days, many people want to specialize. They just want to like do the full stack because they just want to make it complementary to what they can be able to provide. But understanding how strenuous it is and how people are actually wanting to meet standards, people want to just specialize. So you can just say, okay, look for this remnant role that this person is not able to do, and say, okay, I'm a back-end guy. I can complement your front end. What do you think about this? Maybe when you get a project and all those stuff like that. So most of the times it's not guaranteed, but the purpose of it is not necessarily to get jobs, but it's to be in the mind of this individual. Because, like I said before, all the jobs I've actually gotten, yes, all the jobs, even till now, even after I actually sold the startup, and I was meant to get my next role, it was still someone who recommended me and say, this guy just finished his startup at the moment. Why don't you recommend him? And I was actually recommended by someone. So you need to actually be in the mind of people so that they can be able to actually recommend you, and you see the opportunity for them to look for the remnants of the roles that they cannot be able to complement, and have you complement them. So another way you can actually be able to do it is by actually going for network events, like Chinaka said. You can, and there's a before and an after mode of doing that. And the before mode is, like, for example, there are speakers that you can actually relate with even before the event happens. Like, you can say, okay, let's say you see speaker Inyoluwa, for example, it's hard for that guy to respond, but you can just reach out to him and say, okay, I'm looking forward to your event. And I hope to hear you speak and all those stuff. You can just reach out to them on LinkedIn. You can reach out to them so that whenever you're even meeting them in person, they say, oh, you chatted me up, right? You chatted, like, you can just, like, the core about this stuff is highly psychological. It's very, very psychological these days of getting a job, because you can imagine that most of the times you are seeing all these roles, companies placing job ads here and there, like, consistently. You can go to as much as LinkedIn, and you see job roles like mad. You see all of that. You will do the application and you still not get any response from anyone. That's to tell you that there is another back hole where this stuff is coming from. And don't forget, it's people that manage these things. It's people that place these job ads frequently. So you need to figure out how you can be able to look for a means of being in these people's head, so that when it comes to that time where those ads are placed, you can be one of the first individuals that they recommend. So I don't know if I make any sense. Please, if I make any sense, please just type in the chat if you cannot speak. Hello, I'm not getting any response.
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So just have in mind that this entire thing, in as much as money is power, people are the ones that give this money, and you need to be in their minds. You get, be it contract, be it if you want to be like a consultant like Chinaka at the moment, or you want to, like, get a job, whatever the case may be. So the before event, you reach out to them before the event and let them know that, oh, I'm hoping to see you speak and all those stuff. It will even ginger them and say, okay, if they're not even interested in wanting to speak that day, say because of the fact that you sent them a message, they'll get so excited about the entirety of them wanting to speak. And after the event, you can now relate with them properly, kind of. So